You've seen an increase in people needing your services, have you?
Yeah, I mean, we only distribute food to charities that are using food as a safety net. And over the last year, we've seen the number of charities that are using our service go up from 600 to 700. And when we've talked to them, which we've just done, they tell us that two things are happening. One is they're finding that their funding is really struggling and being cut. But at the same time, the demand for their services has gone up in excess of 40%. In other words, there are more people turning to them for help and support.
I was actually at a shelter the other night, and they said that their numbers had doubled in the centre of Manchester, and were having difficulty, and people, as well as getting food in from supermarkets and places, people were cooking it and bringing it to the door. It had got that desperate.
Yeah, what's important that people realise is like that centre, there's not creating some sort of dependency culture. These are people who, if they didn't have that charity there, would go hungry.
But are they having to prioritise? Because there were, in interviewing the people who were waiting for that food, there were people who were sleeping on the streets, but others did have accommodation. So at what point do they have to start prioritising?
Well, that accommodation probably is a very fixed cost. You know, you have to pay the bills, otherwise you don't have that roof over your head, and you join the people in the sleeping bags in the doorways. So what people are doing is they are cutting back on the things that they control, which is your food bill.
I mean, it sounds just quite extraordinary. And we know that times are bad, but that in this country that people literally don't have food in their cupboards enough to feed themselves.
This isn't our research. This is the very credible research from the Joseph Rowntree Foundation. 4 million people in the UK suffer from food poverty. That number's going up. And food poverty is a combination of you haven't got enough to eat, and you through economic circumstances, you're not eating the right things. And people assume it's just overseas, and it isn't. So
going back to my brief experience, they said there was one particular shop that donated a lot of food, and others simply didn't want to know. Is that what you find on a practical basis? Yeah,
some food businesses really struggle to recognise and realise that they do have surpluses, and that's one of our messages. Is you know, last year 3,600 tonnes of food, feeding 35,000 people a day. That's less than 1%. According to government figures, less than 1% of the good quality food that otherwise goes straight in the bins that we'd like to get hold of.